What's going on, everyone? So there is a lot of just talk, rumor, and speculation centered around D'Angelo Russell pretty much this entire offseason. Now, obviously, all the trade talks, a lot of that I think was sparked by him waiving his no trade clause. It opened the door for the Lakers to trade him. You can make an argument that he is our most valuable trade asset because of his contract as well as his skill set. I mean, he's a legit, 17-6 guy, shoots super efficiently, super effectively, can play on the ball, can play off the ball, can play multiple positions. He's got good size, good passing ability, can shoot that thing, right? There's a lot of teams that would probably like D'Angelo Russell and would be willing to bring him on board. So could that happen? Possibly, right? And if Austin Reeves, the Lakers look to move him into the point guard position and kind of want to develop him more and allow him to play point guard more, you could make an argument that D'Lo kind of becomes the odd man out at that point. Although his shooting ability and his ability to play off the ball, I think is still very valuable. I also think that there is a lot of the conversation because of his lackluster performance in the Western Conference Finals. Although we don't even get to the Western Conference Finals if it's not for D'Lo, and it wasn't like he was the only one, right? It kind of became the scapegoat, but nobody showed up outside of Austin Reeves. Like LeBron showed up at that last game where he was just trying not to get a swept, but like outside of that, like we could have used him a lot more. Like where was he when games are close down the stretch to close those games out for? Like there's an argument that nobody really showed up, right? So I don't think it was just solely on D'Angelo Russell. A lot of those games we were playing catch up. It was a nightmare, right? We'll see what happens in the trade regard for D'Lo. I think if he's very good for them this year, I don't think it makes sense to trade him unless it is for, Kyrie or something like that. Some big impact marquee player that's just clear cut far and away better than him. The other big conversation that's going around is D'Angelo Russell playing as the sixth man. And for that, I think that there is a real argument for that. The idea of let him come off the bench where he can be on the ball. He can be the guy. He can go make plays. If he can go be a 17-6 guy off the bench, then that would be hugely impactful for the Lakers. And he probably wins sixth man of the year. His defensive liabilities wouldn't be as big of an issue. He could just play out there and be free. He wouldn't be with as many guys on the court that are going to handle the ball, right? Like being with LeBron, being with Austin Reeves, the Lakers wanting to have Austin Reeves handle the ball more, right? You got to imagine D'Lo in the starting unit is going to play off the ball more than he would on the ball. And so, again, there is a real argument for him in that sixth-man role, being that sixth man. And if that's something he'd be willing to accept, then sure. But the thing is that I don't think that, one, the Lakers will do that. And two, I don't think the Lakers should do that. Right? Like the idea of D'Lo and Rui kind of being your main scoring options off the bench, right? And moving a Gabe Vincent into the starting lineup, right? That's something that many people have talked about. That's something that has been rumored. It's a battle that I'm looking forward to going into training camp, right? See how Gabe Vincent challenges and pushes D'Lo and all that. But D'Lo is better than Gabe Vincent, right? There's no question about that. Defensively, Gabe Vincent's better. But outside of that, D'Angelo Russell is better, a lot better. He's a legit 17, 4, and 6 guy. There are very few players in this league that are that. And the efficiency in which he is, right? I mean, for the Lakers this year, in 17 games, he played 31 minutes per game. The guy shot just under 50% from the field total. He shot just under 42% from three on 6.5 attempts per game. Shot 55.5% from 2-point range and had an EFG of 58.8. Like, the guy was great for the Lakers. And so there is no argument who's better there. Question is the fit, right? Like, Gabe Vincent, he's not a great vision point guard, right? He's not a guy that's going to be making all these highlight plays. He's closer to Dennis Schroeder than he is like a D'Lo. But the type of player Gabe Vincent is a point guard that that has almost always had success next to LeBron James. Norris Cole, Mario Chalmers, George Hill, Avery Bradley, right? Like all of these guys are basically 3-and-D point guards that are there to just do that. Defend the defensive assignment at the point guard position, allow LeBron to create for you, knock down the open three. And that's what Gabe Vincent is very good at. Right? So there is that argument for the fit. You don't really need D'Lo and his playmaking and him kind of being on the ball heavily, especially when you have Austin Reeves and you have LeBron James to do that. I understand those arguments. I just think you're best to keep the continuity and consistency that we saw from last year with D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. Could you mix and match here and there throughout the season? Of course. And I do think they will, right? Like they've talked about starting Jackson Hayes, right? Like they've talked about, I'm sure that they'll start Rui. I'm sure that maybe they will have a game or two where they start Gabe Vincent, right? Like I think that especially early on, you're going to see Darvin Ham kind of throw out different sets, different units, and kind of see like, okay, well, what units work the best? In training camp, I think you're going to get all those different looks as well. But to start a game, I think you need to have your 5 best guys on the court. And I think you need to have those 5 guys try to push and get that lead as much as possible. Right? I think fit is a big factor. Having D'Lo and his ability to shoot the ball so well as play make, I think is huge. But the biggest reason why I think he has to start is him and Anthony Davis's connection. One of the best plays in basketball last year was Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell pick and roll. You also had a big issue with getting Anthony Davis the ball. You know who was one of the few guys on the Lakers roster who actively tried to get him the ball regularly? Was D'Angelo Russell. I think you need to continue to grow and develop that relationship and grow and develop that connection. I mean, Rondo and Anthony Davis were a force because Rondo actually looked for him. Rondo had that connection and that chemistry. And this isn't about like who's the better passer or any of that. It was about the chemistry and the relationship that they built on the basketball court. I think D'Lo and Anthony Davis can develop that same thing. And that pick and roll is absolutely killer. Why would you change that? The only real argument I see is not to move Gabe Vincent into the starting unit. I think he needs to stay on the bench and come off the bench. I think what he provides off the bench would be great. But if you're going to have LeBron play on the ball more, right? Like, is LeBron going to be willing to take that back seat and play off the ball, right? We saw that last year, right? When he came back from injury, we saw him be willing to play off the ball more. We saw him try, dominating the ball less. We saw him, even in the playoffs, be very passive and allow Austin Reeves to kind of run the show and, even D'Lo at times. And actually play within the offense. I mean, so much so, even the commentators of those playoff games were like, when was the last time you seen LeBron James just give up the ball that quickly, right? Like, all of that stuff. If LeBron is willing to do that this year, then I think that you keep D'Lo in the starting unit. If LeBron is just going to, basically be the point guard, then I do think that there is an argument to bring D'Lo off the bench, but I wouldn't bring D'Lo off the bench in place of Gabe Vincent. I would rather go big. I would rather have, just for, the paper, right, have LeBron be the point guard, Reeves be the 2, Vando be the 3, and then bring in like a Taurean Prince at the 4 and Anthony Davis at the 5. Then you have basically all 5 guys are very switchable. LeBron James on paper is just the point guard, just like he was the 2020 year, but he wasn't guarding the point guards, right? Like the Lakers in the bubble year won a championship with LeBron James as point guard. There is a real argument to make LeBron James the point guard. I mean, I did a whole video about it. And I think that that's the only way I would bring D'Lo off the bench. To go bigger, have a bigger unit out there, have, several guys that can shoot three ball out there, and have a bunch of switchability and versatility. That's the approach and direction that I would go if it was me. But outside of that, I think you keep D'Lo in the starting unit. If LeBron James sticks to what he has preached he's wanted the last few years, it's the reason we got Dennis Schroeder to begin with in the first stint, right? It's the reason we traded for Russell Westbrook, because LeBron James said he didn't want to be on the ball and he didn't want to have to play point guard. He wanted to play off the ball more. He wanted to shoot more threes, which he's definitely done that. Not efficiently, but hopefully that turns around this year. But he wants to be able to play off of other players. He trusts Austin Reeves. He believes in Austin Reeves, and that's why he's been willing to do that. Is he willing to continue that? Or was that part of like he was injured and he didn't want to injure himself more? Right? Because if all it is D'Lo just bringing the ball up and then that's it, he hands it off to LeBron and then goes stands in the corner or something like that, then you're better off having D'Lo in the starting unit because he's a 42% three-point shooter, right? And he has the ability to run pick and roll and be a three-level scorer and whatnot, right? Like, I would rather go that route. So, to me, it's what do the Lakers want to do? What does LeBron want to do? And how are they going to approach this? Right? Because Austin Reeves, the Lakers have said, and Austin Reeves has even expressed him playing point guard more. Did it in high school, he did it in college. Right? Austin Reeves has been very vocal about that. And you also have the Lakers who have said that they want to allow Austin Reeves to play point guard more and play on the ball more and make more decisions and have a bigger role. Right? Even then, I still think you keep D'Lo in the starting unit because D'Lo's ability to play off the ball and be as efficient of a shooter as he is. But if LeBron is the point guard, then I don't think D'Lo, I don't think that that's the approach that they should go, right? I think you go bigger. Now, again, you can make the argument D'Lo is shooting, as I've said, is shooting, right? If LeBron's point guard, keep him on the court. But again, I'd rather go bigger, right? I'd rather have like this, like quality three-point shooting, but bigger and better defensively. Where if you have D'Lo in the starting unit, it makes sense to have him be the point. Like, he can play off the ball, but he also can make plays, and he's going to have the ball in his hands at times, and he's going to be super effective. That makes sense, right? Like, that's why I would start him. Because if you take away his ability to play make, then I'd rather just go big. If he's going to be is just a spot up 3-point shooter, I'd rather go with a legit 3-and-D guy than go with just a guy that can shoot threes but can't provide any defense. That's my thought. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think he should be the sixth man? Do you think he doesn't? Do you agree with my points? Disagree with my points? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.